Hello friends, my name is Aditi and today I am going to be sharing my MICAT 1 exam experience with you all. Before we get started about what I did in the exam and my insights from the exam, I should tell you all that I scored 27.75 marks in my exam and I will be sharing my scorecard with you all at the end of this video. Now, before we delve into each section, let me give you an overview of this exam and how it has changed from the previous year. So this examination is of 2 hours and 15 minutes duration and it has 3 major sections. First is the psychometric test section, second is the descriptive test, and third is the aptitude section. So in the aptitude section, we also have 4 subparts, which is 1, the quantitative ability, second, verbal reasoning, third, divergent and convergent reasoning, and fourth was the general awareness part. So as you will go and reach your center and you will start with your examination, firstly there will be a keyboard check test in which you will have to type in a sentence which they will provide in a separate box over there on the screen, just to check your keyboard is working fine, because your keyboard will be of utmost importance in your descriptive section. Now let's start with the psychometric test. So unlike the previous years, this year's psychometric test had only 68 questions and there were 25 minutes to attempt them. It was sufficient time to attempt all of these, and also I got time to review some of my answers. So now those people who don't know what happens in the psychometric test, this test basically checks your mentality, your personality, and MICA has introduced this test because they want to know you better as a person. This test is a qualifying test. Basically, if you do not qualify in this test, you will not be considered for the admission procedure, no matter how good marks you are getting. And I have not heard many people disqualifying this test, so I don't think there's a big worry issue over here. But just keep in mind that you have to keep your answers homogeneous. If you know that you're a team player, then answer according to that. Don't pick something like I want to work individually, or don't pick some team biases or maybe some negative thing about that. Okay, so all of these questions will have a range of options, starting from extremely agreeing and extremely disagree. So my strategy was to not pick the extreme options in most cases. I did pick extremely agree or extremely disagree when there was a question like, will you prefer inequality or in a workplace, or will you, like some question which was asking about moral values and all. So I did pick extremely disagree, but mostly the questions were pretty simple. They were just testing you as a normal person. So it's better if you answer genuinely and keep your answers homogeneous. Don't keep a variation in your answers. Other tip was that because you will have time in the end, so if you have some doubt in some questions, just mark them for review. And if you feel that, oh, this question which I'm reading right now is kind of on the same lines with some previous question, then you can go back to that previous question and judge, okay, I marked that also in some positive way, so I'll mark this also in some positive way. Okay, so this will help you maintain homogeneity. I don't think there will be a big issue in this part of the test. And if there's something I'm missing out, or you want to ask some specific question with regard to this test, just put it in the comment section. Also, one more thing, this section does not have any negative marking, so it is better if you answer every question, and I don't think it has any harm. We all know ourselves better than anyone else, so it's better you answer honestly in this section. Now moving on to the descriptive section. So the descriptive section has 4 questions. 3 questions will be on one topic only, and they will ask you if you disagree or agree or a neutral standpoint or point of view you have to present over there. Okay, So each of these 3 questions will require you to give 3 pointer answers. Remember, do not try to fill it like you've done in your college examinations or board examinations. You only have to write 3 crisp pointers and that's it, because you have to keep in mind that this section has only 25 minutes and you can't waste all your time in one question. Okay, so just write your 3 points, and even if you feel you can elaborate them, keep it on hold and move on to the next question. Once you're done with all the 4 questions, come back and add your pointers to it. Okay, so my strategy to attempt this section was that I started with the image question, which is the last question. You will be given 4 images and you have to form a story on that, on the basis of those 4 images. Okay, so my 4 images were: firstly, there were donkeys; secondly, there was a car crash; third was a cafe kind of area near a road. Okay, and the fourth was a plate which had khichdi and ghee on one side. So in this question, you have to remember that you have to put in the order or sequence in which you are selecting the pictures for your story. Okay, so for example, if you're using A, B, C, D in that order, then mention it in one bracket over there that I'm using A, B, C, D, and then move on with the answer. Do not I chose this because it's easier to answer a visual question before, because it's a story, you can make anything out of it. I made a story out of it. Okay, and I was planning to come back and add to it, but I thought I can add better points in the first 3 questions, so I didn't invest more time in that. But it's a tip for everyone that if you can relate the story with real-time scenarios, whatever's happening in the country or the world, then that will be of huge help. That is one advice one of my mentors gave me. I personally was not able to incorporate much sense into those 4 pictures because like there were donkeys and traffic situation, so I just wrote a normal story. But if you are able to connect some dots in that story, then that's good, do that. But don't invest a lot of time in it, because you have to get marks in the first 3 questions as well. And even though it's not a disqualifying section, but I have heard that you will be judged based on the answers you give on this section in your interview, and it's not a guarantee, but you can be judged. Okay, now the first 3 questions, in one question you will have to give your 3 agreeing pointers and 3 disagreeing pointers, and then your overall point of view. For these, as I've said, answer crisply. Okay, be like relevant, like stick to the topic. Okay, because in that 25 minutes of rush, we might get deviated from the topic just to prove a point, but don't do that. So my topic for questions which I got was employer relationship and how it is evolving over time because of gig workers and freelancers coming into play now. Okay, so I answered those 3 questions based on that. So that is all I can share from this section. If you think you want to ask me something specific, just mention in the comment section. Now moving on to the most important section, which is the mental aptitude section. Basically, in this section you will be marked by +1 and -0.25 marking system, and this will decide your admission procedure, because if you're scoring good marks in this section, only then you will be invited for the admission. Also, like what I've heard is that double-digit marks are good. Some people say that more than 25 marks you should get, or some people also say that there can be a balance between your marks and your CAT and XAT scores. So if you're scoring really well in CAT and XAT, then you can like adjust with 20 marks also in this examination, but try to not get any negative marks in any of the sections. So starting with the quantitative ability section, this time it is like a general opinion which I've heard was that it was tougher than the last time. But personally, I did not find it very tough because we all have prepared for examinations like CAT and MAT, ZAT. So it is easy only. But I did not really score good. I just scored around 5.5 marks. And I will be sharing my scorecard at the end so you can check. The most scoring section for me was the divergent and convergent thinking section. I scored more than 11 marks in that section. I could have scored better, but I now don't remember why it went wrong because all the questions seemed pretty easy to me when I was attempting them. So some questions were based on direction, there was blood relation, there were arrangement questions as well, or seating arrangement questions. Okay. Then I don't remember exactly what questions were asked in the verbal ability, but I think they were doable. Everything was doable only. And this time, as previously they used to have more options, but this time they stuck to the 4 options only for most of the questions. And yes, there were some questions which had more options, but mostly four options were there for all the questions. So the most interesting part of this whole aptitude section was the general awareness section, because we all don't prepare for the GK section all throughout the months when we are preparing for CAT. Only when the date for exams like MICAT come, we get this thing that, oh, we should have prepared earlier. But there's no need to worry because they don't ask you current affairs. They only ask you static GK, which is related to brands, which is related to newspapers, books and such. So luckily I attempted only 4 questions because I was scared if I attempt more I might get negative, and you cannot afford to get negative marks in any of these 4 sections. So I just attempted 4, of which I was sure of 2. One, and both of those were the match the columns question types. So to come down to specifics, read about which company has the ownership of the newspaper brands, not just in India but in New York also, because there was a question from the Guardian related to the Guardian's tagline, the New York Times tagline. Okay, read about these things, the Times of India, Economic Times, the Hindu. You should know what the taglines are. So there will be match the columns. Even if you know 2 of them correctly, you will be able to narrow down the options. Okay. Now I don't remember the other questions because I didn't attempt much. I just attempted 4. I got 4 correct. Luckily, I was expecting 2 correct, but I got 4, so I'm grateful for that. But yeah, this was mostly my insight from the GK section particular. So yeah, now coming to the end of the video, I just want to sum it all up that it is going to be a relatively easy paper, but you have to make sure that you attempt wisely. If you're feeling unsure about some answers, I'd prefer just leave it, because if you're feeling unsure about a lot of questions, then just leave them and just mark the questions which you are absolutely sure of. And if you are like, yeah, mostly I'm sure only, I just want to take a guess in 1 or 2 questions, then that is also a good strategy. Why I'm saying this is because in my scorecard there are 2 sections: maximum marks scored and the minimum marks scored, lowest marks scored by someone. So don't think that a person is scoring maximum marks in all the sections. They are just giving you the maximum marks of every section. It is not necessary that all those maximum marks are scored by one single person. But I want to say that the maximum marks scored in GK or general awareness were 10. So basically someone got all 10 questions right. And in the lowest marks there were negative marks as well. People were getting negative, and it is not good. So I just suggest everyone that please try not to get negative marks. It's okay, like some people say that getting positive marks or even double digit marks are good, but it all depends on what the criteria will be for this year and how they will choose people. Also, this MICAT 2 is coinciding with my SIIB interview. So if any industry mentor is watching this video, I would really appreciate some guidance that if I should go for this MICAT 2 or I should go for the SIIB interview. Yeah, so that's all from my end, and I am going to be showing you my scorecard right now. Just take a look, and I hope everyone do well in this exam. All the best.